Hey, what's going on, everybody? It looks like we're getting that fifth wave as we speak. This is exactly what we wanted to see, and this is exactly what we talked about yesterday when we were back over here. I said, this looks awful lot like a 1-2-1-2. Okay, so if that's the case, I'm expecting a third wave. We got the third wave. But it's still not over, right? We still needed a 4 and a 5 because if we would have started coming back down, we would only have that three-wave shape, right? You can't say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because look how tiny wave 3 is. It's wave 3 cannot be the shortest wave, right? Um, Usually wave 3s are the biggest waves, right? And if wave 3 is mediocre, then the fifth wave should be extended, right? So proportionality between this wave and this wave is exactly what we wanted to see. A fifth wave, right? Depending how high it can go, it could be finished now. It's a tough one to say, but you can obviously see the bearish divergence forming here. But that you can say, oh, bearish, that's bad. No, that's good. That's what you want. Why is that? Because that tells you, right, that a pullback is probably on the way, right? So you can see, normally you would want to get divergence between the fourth and the fifth, right? So this is like an excellent trade setup for a potential, short here for a pullback. Now, I wouldn't short it yet. I want to see how this wave develops, right? So let's zoom in to the 20-minute chart here. And you can kind of see, look at that. It started off as what? It looks to me like a 1-2-1-2. Look at that, 1-2-1-2, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So that looks like the third. So my best guess here is we're probably going to flag out a little bit and then maybe hit the high. And that would be the fifth wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So then that's 5 waves in wave 5, and that's 5 waves overall. So now what we have, obviously 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Then we want to get a bigger correction, right? We want to get a bigger correction for Bitcoin. By the way, happy Friday, everybody. The weekend is here, right? I mean, this week went by fast, super fast. I mean, literally a week ago, right? Remember Saturday last weekend, the assassination attempt? It felt like that was just like a couple days ago, right? And then if you happen to catch Trump's speech last night, man, that was incredible. Hulk Hogan spoke, and that was very entertaining to watch. And then also Dana White, the head of the UFC, spoke, and he actually introduced Trump. And so, if I can recommend, I mean, that was a lot of speeches, but if I can recommend three, it would probably be Hulk Hogan, Dana White, and obviously, if you have to watch one, definitely watch the Trump one. He basically talks about everything that happened from his vantage point. So, you know, it's just so weird that that happened. Like it just seems like surreal. You know what I mean? But I think it helps him out. And why am I saying this? Because I really am pulling for him. I mean, if you watch the Paul Bearer Network, right? A lot of you guys know the Paul Bearer Network. Basically, saying that a lot of people are one policy voters. So for me, it's all about crypto, right? I mean, the most important thing is you and your family. And the best way you can provide for you and your family is obviously money, right? Is obviously having, a source of wealth, right? So for me, crypto is the only thing that can unlock more wealth than we can possibly imagine, right? Because, as you're growing up, you're thinking, I'm going to be a millionaire, I'm going to be a famous actor, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that. But then you get to high school and you realize, oh, it's not going to be so easy, right? And then you get into the real world and then you realize, man, I'm just like most everybody else, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it kind of, sort of diminishes your aspirations a little bit, dealing with college and all that stuff. So there's like really nothing to latch onto. But then all of a sudden we have crypto. And it's like, this is like the perfect time, right? For people's lives to change. And for me, crypto is the only solution that I can see that can have any slight possibility of changing my life. So if that is a possibility, then that is my target, that is my goal, that is my passion, that is I'm pouring everything into that. Which means it's a big issue for me, which means we have to have sort of this roadmap to success. And the only way that happens is regulations. And the only way that happens is good people in position, right, to do that. And, yeah, anyway, check this out. CoinDesk. Trump says he'll release fourth NFT collection. The people want me to do another one, right? So you could say, well, who cares? It's an NFT collection. Well, what this does is it basically validates crypto, right? The first NFT collection, I believe he did it on Polygon, right? So Matic. So you have the former president of the United States has a lot of intel, has a lot of sources, has a lot of people around him, right? So they recommended, obviously, Matic, right? So I'm thinking, okay, Matic has got to be a good long-term coin, right? He didn't build his NFTs on Ethereum. He built it on Polygon, right? So, I think that validated it a little bit there. But anyway, I just wanted to show that for a little bit here. So, just like Paul Barron, for myself, I'm more or less so a one issue type of voter. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more issues at stake here, but crypto being one of the biggest ones, because for me, and I'm sure for many other people, that is sort of going to be the bread and butter of our success for our investments, right? So, I'm not sitting there investing in a lot of money in the stock market and things like that. I think, there's really a few places to put your money, not financial advice, but gold, silver, cash, and crypto, right? Obviously, the stock market is continuing to rise, but it's a tough one because it's been going up for decades and decades. So I feel like the stock market is going to continue to rise, but I feel like there's going to be a big sort of reset. Not the big great reset they all want, but sort of like this transition from the old central banking fiat currency system, reconstructing the Fed, right, into the Treasury Department, having a new system that's backed by gold on the blockchain. That way we can compete with the BRICS nations, because if they're positioning themselves, to sort of be the dominant one, right? I mean, that's really going to put stress on the dollar. So the US having all the debt and having gold, I think it makes sense, right? And then even Trump talked about a gold standard multiple times before. So I think that's coming, and it's only going to benefit more. Obviously, it's going to benefit crypto because crypto and gold are both sound money. So listen to this here.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from your Bitcoin. And I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
That's pretty big right there. And self-custody is very important, right? Because if you don't have self-custody over your own wealth, then it's basically like you don't even own it. So I get that people, don't want to be responsible for holding large amounts of money, right? And it's kind of a scary thing because you're basically taking ownership of your crypto. And then, imagine you start out with a few $1,000s. Now you're at tens of thousands of dollars. Maybe eventually, obviously, I'm very confident that will get up to hundreds of thousands, right? Not speaking about myself, but I'm just saying in general, right? People start out with hundreds of dollars, then it goes to thousands, then it goes to tens of thousands, right? And then eventually it will hit hundreds of thousands. So, you're sitting there, let's say, a few years from now, you're sitting at 100,000, or maybe you're already at 100,000. That's a lot of money you have to take care of, right? So having a ledger, a Trezor, or a hard wallet, a paper wallet, right? You got to manage that stuff. So it basically teaches you to become your own central bank. So security is extremely important, and self custody as well. But for me, I'm about spreading it out. So I wouldn't have just one ledger. I would have probably multiple ledgers. I wouldn't just have one online wallet. I would have multiple online, because if something happened to that wallet, you don't want all your eggs in one basket. You know what I mean? I heard a story where someone's house got burned down, and he had like $500,000 in crypto, and basically it destroyed his hard wallet. So he bought a new one, but he don't have his seed phrase because his seed phrase was destroyed in the fire. So you know what I mean? So that's a sad thing, right? So, you could be at work one day and you come home, fire trucks are at your house, maybe a gas line exploded. So, you don't know, like something, maybe a neighbor left their stove on and the fire got to your house, or maybe you're in an apartment building. So the seed phrase, you gotta spread that out. It's you buy a fireproof safe, have it maybe a copy at grandma's house, or somewhere extremely safe. I'm just saying, things happen. All right, back to the price. That's enough of that. So, obviously we're right back to this area here, right? So we got 5 waves to the upside, and we're basically right at this resistance area. So this would be a place where I would imagine a pullback is going to start here, right? You could say, this pullback was a 4th wave. This pullback was a wave 2. But we haven't had this wave 1 get corrected here. So we could see something like this all the way back down. I mean, we're at 66.5K. So imagine the beginning of August, we're sitting at 59K. I mean, it would just destroy sentiment again, right? Because, you're pulling back. But obviously, I would look at that as a bull flag, right? Which would then, because we're coming from way down here. It's going to be hard to break all of this with one shot, right? Because you lose momentum. So the momentum has to reset. In order for that, you have to have the oscillators reset. In order for that, you have to have consolidation. Price needs to consolidate and sort of, reform itself to the new price, right? And, that would be an ABC. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's get an ABC. And then this would be the wave 1, wave 2, and the wave 3. That's what everybody needs to be on, right? Because this is just a precursor, in my opinion, of what's to come, right? So once this wave pulls back, everyone's going to say, see, it was a trap. It was this. And maybe it is, right? It could still continue down, right? I mean, that's a less probable outcome. in my opinion, because we got 5 waves. I mean, that's what we really wanted to see, right? I mean, this is a big, big deal today. This is a very big deal because look how long we've been here, right? At the top of this was in March, and now here we are today, roughly speaking. That's 130 days, just say, right? 128 days. So just say 130 days, right? So imagine you invest your time 130 days all to just continue going down, right? I mean, that would suck. So, and obviously that's is very possible. But that's what I'm saying. That's why it was such a big deal after we got this 3 wave move, right? That was the hard part, is getting the 3 wave move. And even the harder part is like, okay, now we got the 3 wave move. Now we need a 5 wave impulse, right? Because if it would have did this, I would have been bearish, right? I would have thought that. So, I've been talking even back in here and here. Basically, when we finish this wave, the big thing is, can we get 5 out of it, right? And if we can get 5 waves out of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then it sort of almost solidifies a breakout, right? Because, getting that 5 wave move means you're going to get a 3 wave pullback of some sort, right? So we're still not out of the woods completely. We still need to get through the retracement levels, and we still need to form this wave 2. And this can't like reverse fast, right? It can't reverse quick. It needs to reverse slowly. We want time to go by. If this thing goes fast, then it's going to look like, a retracement, just basically a dead cat bounce with continuation. You can say, well, we had 5 waves. That's true, but a lot of times it can be, a 5 waves is also an A wave, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You get this, right? And then you come up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would just be a bigger 3 wave move, right? So it's not over yet, right? So that's why when we get this, right, this correction, we're going to want a big impulse that breaks this, completely smashes through it, right? And then maybe back test a little bit and then continue higher. But if we kind of go up correctively, then it's going to look like an ABC, which means we got more down to go, right? So it's all going to come to a head right here. That's going to be the big point, right? So actually, let me put the retracement on so we can let me remove all of this here, and I'll put the retracement on, and let me mark off. So we're technically right at the 618, or yeah, we're above it now. So let me put this right. And the bigger, by the way, the bigger this wave, the better, right? We want the biggest first wave we can get. Because the reason why you want it to be bigger is because you want that first wave to do all the work, right? Meaning cutting through those retracement levels, because you don't want, for example, if this was our wave 1 and we pulled back, then here's your wave 3, but we just wasted our whole wave 3 just getting through the retracement levels. We don't want that. We want the wave 3 above the all-time high. That way it has room to gallop, right? It's like, you ever watch the monster truck shows? They make me so mad, because monster trucks are not designed to be in a baseball field, okay? Like, they're just not. They need room to gallop. It's like having a big horse in a backyard. Like, it's too small. You need a big ranch. You need a farm, right? They got to have room to run around. Right? It's like I'm a big Supercross fan. I watched the Monster Energy Supercross ever since I was a little kid. And back then they didn't call it Monster Energy, but basically they do a race in Daytona, and they're in a NASCAR stadium, right? In a big field. And that's what I think monster trucks should be like. But anyway, I digress. We want room to gallop here. This is a major area. So the higher this wave 1 can get, the better chance we have now, like for example, let's say we get up here and we pull back, right? And then we go, well, if our third wave starts here, then we really only have this much to get through, right? So versus our third wave, having a wave one here and our wave three starting here, by the time we get up here, that wave three is finished because it's exhausted because it had to cut through this retracement, this retracement, this retracement, right? So we don't want that. You know what I mean? We want this wave to be the biggest. Not the biggest, but getting through these retracement levels. So back to what I was saying before, let me just put this right here. And that's our zone that we need to get through between the 618 and this 886. So I'll remove that. And right now we've entered that zone. So this is like the zone where anything can happen, right? We're either going to get rejected or we're going to break through it. What I like about this is this zone is relatively tight within all of these levels in here, right? So this is like the big enchilada right here. You know what I mean? So back to what I was saying before, which is we got the 5 waves, we get the pullback, right? And then, like I said, this could be an A, B, C, and then down, or this is obviously an ABC, and then we shoot up in that third wave. So are we going to get a C wave, or are we going to get a third wave? That's going to be the big thing. That's going to be the big pivot right here. So somewhere right here, right? Because obviously this is not going to just do that. I mean, it could, but I don't see that happening. I see a pullback coming, right? And we can look at a few examples. Here's a good example right here. You can see, right, we had this 5 wave move to the upside right here, and then we had this 3 wave pullback, and it was actually a very big first wave. But this first wave was ideal. Why? Because the first wave did all the work getting through the retracement levels. Like I said, we don't want the third wave to meet any resistance, right? It's like I was just watching a documentary on, remember that old school show Modern Marvels? Like they do, it's on the History Channel. It goes back a long time, and basically one of the topics was resistance, right? So resistance is everywhere. Resistance is everything, really. It depends how much mileage you get on your car, depends how fast an airplane can fly, a bullet, right? Anything. Friction is also energy, heat, right? So we want the third wave to have the least amount of resistance. And the way we can do that is by having a big, powerful first wave that gets us through that retracement level. So if I put the retracement from here to here, look at that. This whole wave sliced right through all of those retracement levels, got to the 886, and then pulled back to the 50, right? And then it continued higher. So the third wave was here. So it had, right, a lot of room. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was wave 3 here. So it was able to get where? To the 2618, right? So let's just translate that. Let's translate that. So I got the fractals side by side here, right? And just, obviously this was a double correction, or yeah, we had boom, 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 right? Actually a triple. This was a triple correction here. This was only a single correction. It only took one wave right here, right? So obviously the fractals don't match, but I'm not using it as a fractal per se. I'm just, translating this correction and this pullback here. So if we can get this first wave, right, we're sitting at the 618. So that one actually got to the 886. So for example, I mean, this thing can start to bust a move up here, right? It can actually get up here to that 886, right? And then it pulls back down to what? To the 50. And then what did it do? Right? It came back up here, it consolidated, and then it continued to go all the way up to the 2618. And where does that take us? That takes us to $105,000. Right? So that would be actually the third wave. So we would have 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then maybe 5. Right? I don't know the target. I don't know if it's going to be a 1618, a 26. We sort of have to, like, when people give targets months and months and months in advance, oftentimes they have to be recalibrated because you have that retracement set up, but really you want to see how the wave structure is. You want to see how big wave 1's going to be, right? You want to see what wave 2 looks like, and then you can get a better idea of where it's gonna land here, right? But essentially it would be something like that, where if we have a big third wave that gets us to 100K, I would imagine that fifth wave wouldn't be so big. But if we had a shallow third wave that gets us to the 1618, then I can imagine a bigger fifth wave, right? So that's kind of how we're translating it. So if I actually extend it a little bit here, actually let me so if I sort of just set it here without resizing it, you can kind of see. But if I do resize it, I'll show you that in a second. But essentially you can see where that wave sort of stalled out in here. Obviously it's a little bit different sized, but proportionality wise, right, this thing got to the 886. So that would be right at 70K. Probably actually a little higher than 70K. So we still got a little bit of work to do if we were going to get that high. Now, if we don't get there, it's okay. But let me stretch this out. There we go. I guess that's good enough. But yeah, that you can kind of see where I'm going with that. Now, there's a couple different other ways it can work as well. So if we look at this correction, you can see we had a big wave 1, but then we kind of went flat for a little bit and then continued higher. This one was more of a running flat here, where we actually came up but then came back down, right? So there's not too many corrections we can go off of, but just you're trying to get an idea of what it could look like following. So my best guess, if I put this here, this trend line, I think that's where we're heading. I think we're going to come up and tag that trend line here. But again, we're right here at some resistance. Right in here, that's strong resistance. So if we pull back from here, that also wouldn't be such a bad thing, right? I would actually probably expect that instead of getting to that trend line, getting somewhere in that zone right there, and then having like an inverse head and shoulders, right? Maybe a triangle, or the best option would be some kind of flag right here, and then break out and then continue. So that's kind of what I'm thinking, right? If this comes down fast, like if we go up very fast like this and then we get strongly rejected and we come back down, that's not going to look good. That's going to look bad, right? So we don't want it to fly out of here, right? We want it to get up here and sort of flag out a little bit, right? And you can kind of see the inverse head and shoulders in here, right? You can start to see that shape, right, building up here. So this was our head. Now we're coming back to the neckline, right? So anyway, we'll see how that plays out, but let's move on a little bit here. The 4-hour chart. So obviously in XRP we had 5 waves. This is exactly what we wanted to see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have an A, right? This could be B, and then we come down for C. That's what I'm thinking here. Something like that. If this is going to continue higher and break the top, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So 1, 2, all of this is 3, 4, 5. Then we basically, instead of the flag being here, we put the flag here, right? So it's just a +1, but still expecting that correction, right? So yeah, it's actually looking good, right? Time is on our side. We got plenty of time for this thing to do its thing. So yeah, that's pretty much it here for XRP. And interestingly, we're back at the same levels that we broke down from. See, and that's exactly where Bitcoin is. It's at that same sort of level of where XRP is, right? Back in here. So obviously, XRP front-run Bitcoin's price action, right? And, there was supposed to be a meeting between the SEC and Ripple, and it got canceled. Now, some say that's bad, some say that's good. I don't really know. I look at it as a bad thing. Like, why did they cancel the meeting? I mean, that was, unless, of course, who knows? I'm not going to speculate on that. But, we want this settlement, right? We need the settlement. And if it doesn't happen in Joe Biden's term, it will happen in Trump's term, because Gary, Goldman Sachs, banker boy, freaking Simpsons character is definitely going to be fired. You're fired. He's going to be gone, right? And then who's going to come in, right? Someone with actual integrity, right? Someone who actually cares about the actual investor and doesn't give us the runaround like Gary Gensler does. So moving to the daily, the big idea for XRP is essentially the idea for Bitcoin, right? So we get up here, we have 5 waves, and we're back. Actually, let's pull the retracement on that. I can pull it from here, right, down, and we're only at the 382. So I'm not worried about that one right now. Let's just focus on this one here. So right now, we actually pinpoint nailed the 702 retracement. That is exactly what we wanted to see. Now, so this would be actually a good spot to sort of see a retracement. So I'm just going to put this right about there. And now I can get rid of that. Right? So our second wave is going to be something like this, right? Hopefully, it's something like that. And what we would have then is a 1, 2, right? And that would get us the heck out of here. You could say, well, when you look at this chart, how do you know that? Because XRP is going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down. Maybe this is just going to go up and then it's just going to go down again. Well, yeah, that could be the truth, but why did this go up? Why did this go down? Why did this go up? So there's a story being told here, right? There's a story being told. So right off the bat, you start from the very bottom. Here's the bottom, and then you go to the top. Here's the top. Okay, so from here, just draw a line from here to there. That's one wave. It doesn't matter what wave it is, that's one wave. And then from here, now we're starting to go down. This is another wave. Here's the bottom, right? We don't know if it's the bottom. We can come down here and that could be the bottom, right? But how do we know if it's the bottom? Well, we have to count the waves and see, right? So if this is presumably a finished wave, it could be an ABC, right? And then we have another 3-wave move here, right? So you don't have to look at all the waves in between. You just go from point to point to point. So that's 3 there. That's 3 there. So you have 3, 3, 3, or 3, 3, and now you have an impulse, right? So we just finished. This took a whole year, guys. That's why. Another reason. This took a whole year to finish, right? Look at this. A, B, C. That's a massive 3-wave move. The reason why it looks a little bit confusing. By the way, Alessio Rastani, remember the video I just put out responding to Alessio? Well, guess what? He just put a new video out. I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to watch it. But he just put a new video out. Maybe he saw what we had to say, right? So go watch the video. Let me know what you think, right? Is he changing his tune all of a sudden? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Because he doesn't usually do altcoins. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he spends a lot of time on XRP for somebody who thinks the chart is rubbish, right? And he doesn't think that. And I really like the guy. He's a really good person. I still watch him. I'm still subscribed to his channel. I mean, there's no reason not to be. He's very intelligent. It's just kind of, a little bit, for me, it's a little bit vague on his XRP stuff with Charlie. And mainly Charlie, right? So, when you look at something like this, you can say, oh, it's rubbish, right? It's going up, it's going down, it's going up, it's going down, it's going, right? It's, up, down, right? What, you can't make sense of it. But instead of looking at this here, right? This is the confusion, this right here. Boom, 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 right? But don't even look at that. Don't even look at that. All you got to look at is the points, right? Actually, let me go to the line chart here, right? And then let me bump that up to like the 3-day. Actually, let's go to the 4-day. Okay, so you can see from point to point, boom, that's one, right? And then where's the highest point again? It's this one. So then we draw a point there. And then where's the lowest point? The lowest point is here, so we draw a point there. So what shape is that, right? Everybody gets sort of confused, and it's like an optical illusion. They can't see it, right? But obviously, it's a 3-wave shape. And that 3-wave shape is correcting this 3-wave shape. Inside that 3-wave shape, we have a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So here's the thing, guys. If this wave would have came down and took this bottom, and then we would have had a 5-wave move, everybody would have changed their tune on XRP, because then at that point you can say, well, it was a straight impulse. But since it's connected to this, obviously it's a 3-wave shape. But I kind of look at it like, I think on some exchanges this low was actually broken here. So I'm counting it as a 5-wave move, right? Even if it's not, we still have 3, 3. We're going to get 3, or we're going to get 5. So, that's the way I see it, right? So for XRP, right, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C. So basically this 3-wave move is correcting this whole move here. So this is the whole move. This is the whole move, right? So we have 3 up, we have 3 down. What comes next? Look at this big impulse here. We got a big impulse. Want to get a 3-way pullback and then continue higher, right? And then continue higher. And then when you zoom out, right, now the whole thing becomes a big 3-wave move. 1, 2, 3, right? So hopefully this third wave gets, I think, proportional wise. Let's pull the fib on here. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to do a trend-based fib from here, roughly speaking. There we go. Probably between $1. It's really going to come down to $1.30. I think that's where the magic happens. If XRP can break $1.30, it has a really good chance at getting to $1.60. If $1.60 is broken, then it's on like Donkey Kong, as they say, right? Because, when I take this off, all we have at that point is a 3-wave shape. right? So if I just take that line here and I put it there, right, the proportion, that gets us to about $1.30 or so. So from there, right, again, we only have three waves. Boom, 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 right? So then this is where the dangerous part is, right? This is really gets dangerous, because if this third wave gets rejected in the retracement levels, we could easily go down, right? And then what this would be is sort of 3, 3, 5. So we would have a complex B wave, right? You see how it kind of comes like this? It swoops to the upside. That's exactly what happened here. On the smaller time frames, you can see, right? So we had a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation, and then we were gonna nope. We came up here, we took the high, and then we came down, right? So what if we get a larger version of that? And basically we're right in here, right? So again, this was a complex B wave, and then we took the bottom, right? So when I zoom out, this could be a complex B wave, right? So we come up here. So boom, 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 right? You have that three-wave shape. And then you come down for the C, and then you go to the moon. So that could totally happen. That would be the most bearish thing on, from that time on, right? But it would lead to a big, massive bull run. But then you would have to hold all through that. It would suck, right? So that's why I'm saying this thing can get very dangerous, right? So let me just do this here. 1, 2, 3. Let's say we get up here. So either this is going to turn into a 4, and then we get 5. That's what we want to see. We want to see a 5-wave move that actually breaks the top, pulls back, continues higher, right? Because it's all going to come down to what happens right here, right? After we get this 3-wave shape, I'm pretty confident we can get up here, right? But what happens when we get there? Are we going to come back down? Or are we going to go into expansion? Basically, this is the big crossroads right there, right? Because even if it is very, 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 very bearish, we still have to come up here, because this is an ABC or it's some type of 3-wave shape. But if it turns into a 4th wave and then we get the 5th wave, then it totally changes the game. So this is where it all boils down to. So I think, between $1.30, let me put that back on here. Yeah, I would actually say between $1.30 and $1.60, right? That's where the pivot is going to be. Either we're going into expansion, or we're going down, 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 down. So let's see how this will work out. And let me put Bitcoin on as well, right? And look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin's way the heck up here. Obviously, it's on a different scale. So if I put XRP there, you can see it's nothing. What am I doing? Let me go back to log scale. Actually, no, I want percent. There we go. Okay, so yeah, the percentages is how you want to look at them. So this is the exact same scale, right? And you can see XRP's way down here. Look back over here, you can see XRP was way overvalued compared to Bitcoin, right? Percentage wise, back over here it was about the same percentage. Bitcoin was a little bit more, right? And then and then now we're sort of way down here. Look at the deviation. Look at the divergence going on, guys. Look at this divergence all the way up, right? And we're sort of doing this. So there's going to be a snapback here, right? And I think that's going to come back eventually. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But really, what I'm trying to emphasize is, once we break out of here, that's going to be our signal that we're going to break out, right? But then, we still have our retracement levels we need to get through. Whereas Bitcoin is basically an expansion. So how long is it going to take for XRP to get through those retracement levels? Is it going to be a big straight bullet like it was over here? Well, let's hope so, because when XRP gets going, it gets going fast. So hopefully it doesn't spend too much time here. Because if Bitcoin goes into a distribution, that's when rotations occur, and that's when we can get that big breakout. And it might only last a short time. So we'll see. Definitely exciting times ahead, right? I mean, you got crypto, you got the election, you got things drastically changing here. So yeah, let me actually go to. Let's jump into the price of Theta. Theta's bullish. I don't know what else to say. We have a big breakout here, right? And when we were up here, we talked about the possibility of a three-way pullback and a continuation, or we talked about the possibility for it to come all the way back down and back test the breakout level. So it did the back test. So now it's about getting through the retracement levels. See, it's easy when it's here, it's easy when it's here, but when it gets in the middle, it's challenging because you just don't know which way it's going to swing. But that's why we zoom out and we see what the broader trend is, right? So what I'm watching for Theta is, can we get back above really that $3 plus area? So this zone up in here, right? That's the zone we're going to need to get through. Now, how we get there, that's a different story. Let's zoom in. Small time frame here. Yeah, okay, so look at this. Theta just took the high. That's exactly what we wanted to see. I didn't know that happened. Let me zoom in. So it just took the high here. Let's see. Let me go to the 20-minute. Yeah, so we actually came up. We took the high. So we don't know if it's a three-wave move or if it's part of a fifth wave here. For example, let me zoom out a little bit here. Let's get rid of that. So what I'm seeing is, obviously we have a 1, 2, looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and it looks like we're getting 5. That's what I would expect, right? So 1, 2, all of this is 3, this is 4, and now we get 5. That's what I would like to see. Now, could it be possible that the fourth wave is still here? Yes. So we have a three-way pullback. Boom, 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 right? So you could say 1, 2, 3, three-way pullback, 4. Now let's get 5. Or this is what I wanted to share. This could be a flat, right? Because it has kind of a three-wave shape. Boom, 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 right? Yes, it took the top. Yes, it's getting people bullish, but it could be a trap. A small trap. It's not a big trap, just a tiny little trap, right? So if we have a three-wave shape here, you can see a three-wave shape, right? And then we have another three-wave shape for a B wave, right? Because if anything's going to be a trap, it's going to be a B wave. So there's your A wave. This could be a B. And then we come back down and 3 or 5, right? So if it's actually a 5-wave move like this, that would be wave C. And then we zoom out, right? And then what we have, 1, 2, 3, all that's 4, boom, 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 and then we get 5. So are we getting 5 now, or do we have to come down in wave C and then get 5? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, we need that fifth wave. right? So what I would say is, if this kind of pulls back here, which I think it is, you got a topping tail there, and then we come up and hit the high like that, I'm gonna say that's a fifth wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? So then we got the 5-wave move. Now we can get our big correction. Right? Now we can get our big correction. So I would rather the fifth wave be now. Let's get the fifth wave over with, right? The faster we can get the fifth wave over with, the quicker we can get this correction over with, the quicker we can get that third wave, right? But at the same time, I'm sitting here like, well, if this is going to be a wave one, just like Bitcoin, if it's going to be a wave one, we want this wave one to get us as high as possible, right? So we want this wave one to be pretty big here, right? So I would really like to see it get up here, at least somewhere in this zone, preferably, right? Somewhere up there. If we can get that wave one here, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And then we pull back in that third wave, then we get that third wave, you know, we don't have as much resistance to get through. Versus if the wave's only this small, right? It could even be a 1, 2, 1, 2 and then get us out of here. So there's a few different things that could happen, but the overall direction is up, right? You can see, let me draw my downward resistance line. That's sort of where I want to see the price get to. So a wave one, we want to at least get to there, right? So let me zoom back in. So on the 4 hour, then we can do it like this. So this is a 1, this is a 2, right? And then we have another 1, 2, I guess you could say 3, 4, and 5. So this whole thing could be the wave 3. And then we get a wave 4. And then we come up and get a wave 5 like this. That would make more sense, I think, because it would get us back to this trend line. And then, you know, we can sort of flag out in here underneath this resistance line. A lot of times when it's bumping and bumping and bumping and grinding down, that's a good indication it's going to break out. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, B, C, and then we get that big third wave. So that's kind of what I'm hoping to see happen here. Now, this could also turn into a 1, 2, 1, 2, right? And then we get the third wave. That could also happen. I think that's what happened. No, that happened on Bitcoin. Yeah, so for example, here was our fifth wave, or here was what happened last time. So let me just take this fractal here from a bars pattern perspective, you know. So let me take this. You can already see, right? This 5-wave move is already bigger, right? You can already see it's already bigger, but the proportional is because, well, you know, this correction is way bigger. This correction is smaller, right? So from a proportionality, it's actually it's about the same, right? So all I would do is just stretch it out a little bit here. There we go. And let me stretch it out just enough. There we go, something like that. And that would kind of make sense, right? So you kind of have 3 levels in a correction here. You have the top, you have that base, and then you have the bottom. So let me go back over here. You have the top, the middle, and the bottom. And essentially, this one here came all the way into that second wave, actually. So it was actually pretty deep. But the problem is we're so far away from it, it's way the heck up here. So I just don't see that happening unless, obviously I can see that happening, but if we're going to follow this fractal, I can see something like that too. And then also, right, if we get something like this, we have an inverse head and shoulders, right? So that would actually look pretty good. But if it really wanted to make us happy, 1 2 1 2 3, maybe 3's not finished, we get 4, and then we come up and hit 5, and we actually get back up to here. You know what, that would be really, really nice to see. If we can get up here on our first wave, I think that would be really awesome. And it's definitely possible too, because when you break down and you come down, you want to come back up and retest it. So this is going to be the point. Do we break down or do we break out? Usually you come down and you pull back a little bit and then you break out, right? But if we get a quick reversal, then you'll know, right? So that's why you got to hit subscribe, because we're going to be going over all this when that day comes. There's a few things that could happen in here. But as far as that, it's, if this is still bearish, right, we're going to know from Bitcoin. But I don't see anything to be bearish about right now, because we have that 3-wave shape, right? And we have 1 2 3 4 5, right? We have 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5. A, B, C. We have a 3 3 5, and then it looks like we're getting a 5-wave impulse off the bottom. So I just can't see anything bearish right now. And if we come up here, which we did, and we start to roll over and make another low, then this is no longer a bullish correction. This is a reversal. So it really needs to reverse here, and that's all about hashing out a bottom, what we've been talking about for a while. So that's really it for theta. Some of the targets here, if I just take a retracement saying this is the bottom, we're looking at least $5.50, right? Between $5 and $6. So that's not bad at all. So from where we are now, that's approximately 250, 260% there. But yeah, that's about it for theta. Let's see if we can get that 5th wave, or if this is a B wave and then we need another pullback. Anything else we can look at? CRV, right? CRV is looking still pretty good. It didn't come up here and get a strong rejection. It came up here. It's in the resistance, it's trying to push its way out. It's flagging horizontally. So we had a 5-wave move up, and we're not angled down like this. We're angled straight like this. What does that mean? Well, you could say it's more bullish, because, right, the bulls are not letting it go below 27 cents. So it's staying in a pretty tight range here. The whole thing about the CEO selling, or I don't know what's going on with that. Here's what I'll say about things like that. I don't typically get caught up in things like that. Obviously, if it's pretty big, you got to take that into consideration. But here's what I'll say. When you talk about certain coins, or any coin really, a lot of times the bad news comes at the bottom, okay? The worst news, right? So that's pretty bad news, right? The worst news comes at the bottom. This looks exactly like, Bitcoin when it had that FTX and all that stuff, right? 3 Arrows Capital, Celsius, FTX, right? All of that stuff was happening at the bottom here. So you can see, right? It has this little range. It's falling. It looks like it's never going to stop. And then it has this range. And then bam, it takes the range. Now, if you look at Bitcoin, right, that's exactly what happened to Bitcoin right here. Right here. You can see, right? We're coming down. We built the range. And then boom, that was your flush right here. And that marked the bottom, right? But you had all that bad news in here. Bad news, bad news, bad news, right? Okay, so we'll keep an eye on it. We'll keep an eye on it. We'll see. But yeah, I think CRV's got a good chance here at I look at it from a percentage potential, right? This thing has a lot of percentage potential. First of all, it made a new low. It broke this range, right? It's not like Solana or other coins that have been flying to the upside, right? I feel a lot better here because I feel like I'm getting a good deal, right? So just to get back here is 200%, right? Not even, just to get back to the all-time high, I mean, you're looking at 2,300%. So anyways, hit that like button. I really appreciate it. We're over an hour now. I kind of wanted to touch on a few things here. Neo, I remember trading Neo a long time ago. Like, I remember it really back in here, I think, when it first came out. I haven't looked at the chart in a long time. It also did not go into an expansion phase. So when I look at Neo, I'm looking at a rise, crash, retrace, reaccumulation. We're going sideways. We got a 1 2 1 2. This thing looks really bullish, guys. Really bullish. Now, it does give me a little concern here that we didn't break the all-time high, right? But, it could be gearing up for some big moves here. Now, here's the thing. When we're going to get an alt season, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We will get another alt season. The timing of when that occurs is always challenging, but we will eventually get one. So when that time comes, how are the coins going to fare? The ones that actually had a bull run, like ADA, Matic, Solana, right? They had a bull run. How are they going to fare compared to coins that only went into a retracement, like XRP, XLM, right? In this case, Neo, because they broke out, they had their bear market, and now they're sort of going up in the retracement. So a lot of coins are up here, right here, while Neo's way down here. So that's why I'm like, well, it looks more like a better deal, right? Because if just to get back up there, just to meet back to where most coins are is a pretty big percentage increase in itself, right? So, I mean, just to get back to the all-time high, you're looking at 1,500%. So, are they still developing on Neo? Are they still building? It's kind of hard to say. I know it's an Asian blockchain. I'm not too sure. But yeah, from a chart perspective, it looks pretty good. We got a 1 2 1 2 here. So I want to see this thing continue to impulse to the upside. ADA. So same thing with ADA, right? I mean, you got this 1 2 3 4 5 ABC, break the trend line, pull back, let's go. I mean, and then you also, I would like to say this is a 1 2 1 2, but it's not, because it took the low. But we'll see. And it also looks like CRV. I think we talked about that, where it came down, it goes into a range, and then it flushes the low. So imagine picking up CRV like right here, or ADA right here, and then it did this. That's why I couldn't pass up the opportunity. You know what I mean? If there's any coins you want me to take a look at, drop them in the comment section. 1212 looks bullish. Looks bullish. I don't know what else to say. And Filecoin is one of those that have a big percentage potential because, you know, we're at $4.60, 4618. Haha, this we're at the 618 at the 4618. No, see, if I put a measurement just to the all-time high, I mean that's 5,000% just to get to the all-time high. Not even talking about expansion, right? So that could be a big thing here. Now, can you imagine this thing hitting a 1618? If I put that down here, we're looking at $386, right? So if I just do a little measurement here, up to, I mean, wow, that's about 8,500% right there. Not saying that's going to happen. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I'm saying if we get through those retracement levels and we go through expansion, whoo, it's going to be a big wave. And to me, it looks like what? It looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2. And now we have another 1, 2, 1, 2. So this thing looks like extremely bullish. So we'll see if that plays out or not. I've always been interested in Filecoin because it's just, I think it's got a lot of merit to it. So yeah, we'll keep an eye on that one. XLM, same exact thing as XRP. Right, you got 3 up, 3 down. Let's go. Litecoin also could be a 1, 2, 1, 2. I don't like it as much. It looks more like 3, 3. Theta Fuel. Look at Theta Fuel starting to pump to the upside. Right, after backtesting the breakout level, we're impulsing up. So we got to get through the retracement levels. Algorand, same thing. 5 waves up, 3 waves down. Starting to pump in that first wave. Got to get through the retracement levels. Matic, right? We landed here on support. We want to break out. QNT. QNT. Oi. QNT. Yeah. It's about the same. And Matic. Do you believe in Matic? I'm trying to find. Okay, I'll go back to QNT another time because I wanted to look at the full chart for everybody because I think QNT is going to be another big winner. But looking at SHIB, we have a 1, 2, 1, 2. This is exactly what Filecoin looks like right now. This is exactly what a few other coins look like right now, right? But look, SHIB already got that third wave. So, you know, would you rather be in SHIB or... I still think SHIB's got a long way to go, though. But, you know, the thing is, you know, for me, it's all about percentages at the end of the day. So, whichever coin can give me the best amount of percentages, I'm all for. Another one is Casper, right? We made another all-time low just to get back, you know, to the all-time high is an incredible amount, right? But we'll talk about this another day. I'm just kind of scanning through here. Ethereum Classic. This, yeah, the squiggles there, that could be part of a bigger 3-wave move. I don't think so as much now. It kind of looks like Dogecoin did. This looks exactly like Dogecoin. Look. So here was Dogecoin back in 2018, 2019, 2020. It kind of looks similar to this. I mean, look at that. It looks pretty dang interesting to me. And this was right before Dogecoin made that explosive, that massive move to the upside. This move is like the equivalent of XRP going up to $200. That's how big it is, right? So you can see it looks pretty similar, especially the way it's correcting right now, right? We came up and then we're sort of consolidating. We came up, consolidating, and then we came down. We have these spikes up, spike down, right? We spike up, spike down. Then you can see we kind of popped the high and then we kind of flagged out. Same thing here. We pop the high and then we kind of flag out, right? And then what do? Guys, I mean, wow, look at this. And then we pop the high, or we take the high here, we break out, and then we come down, we back test, and then we freaking go to the moon, right? We back test right in here, we're back testing right in here, go to the moon, right? So this could be big, guys. This could be big. Where did Dogecoin hit? I don't think Ethereum class is going to be as significant, but essentially, I mean, it went way beyond the 4.236. So we'll just say the 4.236 to be fair, right? It actually went way higher than that. So at least the 4.236. So if I put that right there, where does that get us? That gets us to about $700. Wow. So $700, we're at $23. So that's approximately about 2,800%. So, you know, that would be what, a 28x or so? Yeah, I would say at least a 20x potential there. And then you also have the Ethereum ETF coming out, which is what? Going to do what, right? It's going to boost Ethereum Classic, right? I would rather hold Ethereum Classic than Ethereum because it's like the altcoin of Ethereum. You know, when that Ethereum ETF news came out, we got a pretty big pump, right? I mean, we got a pretty big pump here compared to compared to the rest of the market, right? So yeah, I think these two side by side look pretty dang interesting here. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I don't want to be too long. So anyways, really appreciate the like, help out with the algorithms. You know, I'm trying to, the best way to learn how to trade, the best way to look at charts is to watch people do it, right? I mean, you know, you sort of lead by example, and me telling you versus me showing you, two different things. You know, again, I take a little bit more time to kind of go through it all. So if you have any coins you want me to take a look at, go ahead and drop them in the comment section and I'll take a look. I'm going to look at, I think THETA versus Bitcoin coming up soon. I think it's got some momentum coming here. Could be a 1-2-1-2. So I want to see it get back into the retracement levels, and then the real work begins. But anyways, I will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good one. Cheers.